What's up, Wookiees, Jedi, and droids? Welcome back to the Fantasy Files Podcast, the podcast that wastes hours of your life that you are never getting back. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe, joined by our friend Isaac to go back into hyperspace and back to the Star Wars extended universe with the last book in Timothy Zahn's The Thrawn Trilogy, titled The Last Command. We will be spoiling everything that happens in this trilogy, so just be aware of that before you continue with this episode. And as always, if you'd like to reach out to us, you can do so by following the links to our socials in the description, including our Patreon, where you can watch these episodes live as we record them and join us in the chat to talk about the book along with us. Or you can also just leave a comment here on YouTube on the video. I love responding to those, and I try to get to all of them. So with the intro out of the way, let's talk about the last book in the Thrawn Trilogy, The Last Command. Welcome back, Isaac.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we got to do one of these.
Just a little while.
Yeah, and we have been going back and forth for a while because you read this a while ago, right?
Yeah, I actually paused it with like 3 chapters left to save it for the week of. So I was like, I can't finish the book, and then I just wanted to be fresh.
Yeah.
So I just actually finished the book yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a while ago, and I think we were just in the middle of we just had back-to-back weeks of this week's Harry Potter, this week is Stormlight, this week is we just had all these really hard commitments, and finally we found a week to be able to do this. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this week. For our viewers that might be unaware, I had some dental surgery last week. And that's probably why if I'm talking any different today, that's why, is because I'm a week recovered from that, and it was getting closer and closer to this weekend, and it was literally Thursday and Friday, and I'm still in a lot of pain. I don't know if I'll be able to do this on Sunday. I was so close to canceling it at the last minute. But then yesterday I started feeling a lot better. Today I feel almost 100% better. So things are looking up for sure, and I'm really excited to get back to content creation, because let me tell you guys, I've had the last week off of every kind of commitment you can think of, including work and all that, and all I wanted to do is make videos. I've been here in this room just recovering from this minor surgery, and I've had so many ideas for different videos, oh, I want to talk about this specific chapter in Harry Potter, oh, I want to talk about this video game, oh, I want to talk about this show I just watched, and I just couldn't, because I literally could not talk. And it was killing me. So now I have all these video ideas, and I'm I need a day where I can just sit down and write out the scripts and sit in front of a camera and just record these videos and get it all out of my system. Now that I can talk again. But no, it feels good to be here with you guys and be able to open my mouth again. Because yeah, because I don't think you realize until something is gone, I don't think you realize how often you use it. If somebody were to come up to you and say, hey, do you think you could not talk for an entire week? I'll give you $1,000. You're I could totally do it. I could not talk for an entire week. No, you freaking can't. I promise you, you do not realize how important it is to be able to talk to people.
Yeah, it's sensory deprivation, man. And literally is sensory deprivation. I can imagine how awful that would be.
It totally is. It was incredibly awful, and there's almost kind of what's the word? A mental health aspect to it too. I don't think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think we realize how important communication with another human being is.
You lose one of the best ways to express yourself.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's perfectly said. Yeah. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, and it was literally like day 3 of me like not being able to talk. Like I, for people that don't understand, I literally was not able to talk for a week. And it was like day 3, and I was starting to feel so just like incredibly depressed. And what I
Mm,
ended up doing is I started watching like long video essays on YouTube of like
okay.
someone talking about like a subject, because I
Ah,
needed like somebody to converse with in
Yep.
some way. And I swear to God, they saved my soul. Like
oh my gosh.
I was like, oh man, I've just been
That's cool
listening to
though.
so many YouTube video essays. So
That's cool
any
though.
YouTubers out there that do that, thank you so much.
Seriously, that's awesome. Wow.
But we're back, and I'm excited to be making content again, and be able to talk and make videos and whatnot. So let's talk about Star Wars. Is there anything new in like recent Star Wars stuff that you've
Oh
been
man.
like watching? Because I think the last time you came on, Ahsoka had been out.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think so. So we had
Yeah.
talked about that.
That was awesome. The last show that came out was Skeleton Crew. Did you hear about
Okay.
that?
Yeah, that's the one about the kids,
Yeah,
right?
it's supposed to be kind of like an 80s. Well, it has like an 80s
Vibe.
vibe. What do they call it? Gambling or whatever, like E.T.,
Hmm.
Goonies.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they had kids. And I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's for everybody,
But it's
but
a
I
Star
personally,
Wars thing?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
I've
these
never I have
kids,
not heard of it.
they
That sounds
stumble onto a spaceship. They live on a planet that's really similar to Earth, and then they go on a crazy adventure with this
huh.
guy they can't get a read on. And
Yeah,
It's like a
interesting.
coming of age kind
yeah,
of thing, right?
I thought it was awesome. Personally, though, I think it just would have been sweet to have a movie of it.
Oh
They could
yeah,
have told the whole thing
in a movie.
concisely in a really classic style movie.
Yeah,
It just felt like, yeah, they added a bunch of stuff to make it a show. But
right.
yeah, it was really
Gotcha.
cool. It was really neat, regardless of that. And then what everyone's getting ready for, well, everyone that uh cares, I guess, is into it's crazy that there's so much Star Wars content out right now that there's Star Wars fans that just don't even watch everything, and
Wow.
it's crazy that there is so much Star Wars content that you meet a person that's I'm a Star Wars fan. You'll find out they're an original trilogy fan, or
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're a sequel fan, or they're whatever they're a fan of. But so with all the Star Wars shows, Andor I thought was amazing.
Yes.
So season 2 of Andor is coming out.
That's right.
But so many people missed out on Andor because they just were like, it's boring, it's slow. But
oh my gosh,
they didn't hold
it was
on.
so good.
If you finish that show, it's amazing.
It was so
And probably, yeah, the best. Well done. Like Mando was cool,
Mhm.
especially just seeing the effects and seeing.
Mando got old after a while, though.
Yeah,
I
I could see that.
plummeted on Mando after like midway through season 2. I was like,
Okay.
I'm done with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then Mando also has nods to other content from like
Sure.
the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff.
Like Ahsoka's and Mando,
Yeah.
right?
So if you're not informed on that stuff, then you could kind of be like, oh, it's like putting an Easter egg in, but you're like, I don't know that's an Easter egg.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't it wild
Plot
to think
just gets more
about
complicated.
that Star Wars started right in the late, I think 70s, right?
Yeah.
Sometime like that.
Yeah.
And you know, it just proves it's one of the greats, right? They're still making
yeah.
new content, just
Yeah.
like Harry Potter's still making new content. Probably
Oh
not
my
as much
gosh.
as Star Wars, but
Sure. Yeah.
it's just like one of those things that's like they'll probably be making Star Wars, like you said, when your kids are, 60 years old, right?
Yeah.
They'll
like,
be
It's not going to
milking it
stop
forever.
because there's so many people that just love it. You can make a story out of anything in that universe, and it will be awesome.
Right.
It's crazy thinking about the original movie too. I just recently, so my last thing, I've been in a big DC kick.
Mm.
Oh,
watched,
nice.
like, every Batman.
I love
piece of
DC.
stuff, Superman, like all of it,
Yeah.
all the cartoons, like almost all of the, and like the newer like
Yep.
standalone
Yep.
animated movies, but like all of the like Justice League, Batman Beyond, Batman, Superman, and then all the live Batman movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Including the '60s one.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
You really
awesome.
have been on a kick.
Dude, I went all the way. And so I started I have a coworker that was giving me a hard time about not watching the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeves. I know they just had a documentary come out about him. And so I sat down and watched it, and I was watching it thinking like, oh man, this is hard to sit through.
Yeah.
Like out of all the movies, I was like, this is rough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at the date though, and I was thinking, okay, this had to have been like pre-Star Wars, because they should have learned something from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they could have thought, oh, here's Star Wars. Here's how to make a movie.
Well,
It was like made 2 years after Star Wars, and I thought,
Well, that's the thing. I think that's what makes the original trilogy so special is that especially the original trilogy Star Wars was like a marvel of engineering. Like
Yes.
the way that they were able to, like, all of those ships and everything you see, those are real like little models that they're recording on their thing, and they were so good with their filmography, like how they actually filmed it, that they were able to make you believe
right.
that like they had like little tiny lights that they would like shine in certain places to make it look like the light of the moon was
Yeah,
hitting it just right.
That's so cool.
And it's like, so they were like a cut above your average, like your average you know, director or producer or whatever. But yeah, that's cool that you've been going through. Have you watched The Killing Joke?
No, I don't
Oh.
even know what that is. I've heard
Me
of
neither.
it, but
I've
I
never
don't
heard
know
of
what that is.
It's like I haven't seen it. I've read the comic, but or at least I read some of the comic.
Does it have to do with the Joker?
Yeah, it's like people hold it as like the best Batman content you can possibly watch.
Dang.
And there's an animated movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called The Killing Joke.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I'm excited for Andor season 2.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm not like a huge Star Wars fan,
Sure. Yeah.
but I loved Andor. I thought
Yeah.
I got so sucked into that show. So yeah, I'm super excited for Andor season 2. I was really surprised when they announced that. I definitely did not think a season 2 was coming.
Right.
Very cool.
Well, I think they announced. I feel like they said something
Was I out of the loop?
shortly after.
Yeah.
I
Really?
don't know.
Okay.
That was like a while ago now. which is
Interesting.
weird.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just not super plugged into the announcements and stuff. But that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
addicted to it. Oh, I was gonna say Star Wars is like an abusive relationship.
What a segue.
Dude, what a segue.
It's like, I don't know. They can make a pile of garbage, put the sticker Star Wars on it, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, here's my money.
Right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I've actually intentionally been trying to just take a step back from
And not-
how much I consume.
Yeah.
And,
Not impulse
Buy.
buy or impulse watch, just the first thing that
Yeah.
comes out.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really good for me. I
Yep.
think I get a little
Self-control
anxious
is
when
really
I'm like,
good. It's a great
yeah.
thing. It's a
I
great
get a little
thing.
anxious when I'm like, oh, I gotta go finish this book, or I gotta go finish this,
Mhm.
gotta go finish the show, or
Yep.
whatever it is. So it's
Mhm.
been nice to be like, all right,
Yeah.
Taking a
can't.
break. Taking a break.
and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Everything will be okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way with like Harry Potter. Like if it's got like a Harry Potter sticker on it, I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I've kind of had to do the same thing where my mom's been trying to get me to watch she's like, you got to watch this Harry Potter baking show.
What?
And I'm like,
Nice.
they made like a Harry Potter, like a full on like high production Harry Potter like baking show. And I'm like, Mom, I cannot watch a baking show just because it has the Harry Potter
That's where you
label
draw
on
the
it. Yeah,
line.
like that's where I'm drawing the
Baking's
line.
where the line is drawn.
I'm like, I will watch any like spin-off or read any like novella or anything.
Baking.
I draw the line at baking show.
Oh, that's funny.
That's funny. I didn't even
Sick.
know that would have ever been a thing. Harry Potter.
Yeah,
baking show.
it's on HBO. Yeah. It's a whole thing. Apparently it's like super high production and actors from the original
Oh,
movies.
Harry Potter,
like,
Wizards of Baking. That's what it's called.
Wizards of Baking, yep.
Oh.
And
Wow,
like
it does look actually pretty high production.
yeah, it's super high production.
You're a baker wizard.
You're a baker. Hagrid just shows up.
You're
He's like,
a wizard, Baker.
you're a baker, Harry. And Harry's just like, what? He's like, you're a baker. That is not what I was expecting to hear.
It's like one of the challenges to make a birthday cake for Harry and just spell his name right.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't Hagrid do that? It's
Yeah.
Yep.
misspelled.
Oh
and
my
he sat
gosh.
on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Although it was pretty intact for a big guy like that sitting on a cake.
I know, yeah, you'd think it would be just decimated. Oh, all right. Let's talk about the last command here, and we're gonna go into spoilers just so everybody's aware, and nobody can claim that I did not give a proper spoiler warning. Here it is. So just be aware. So what are before we go into like any specific questions, what are our general thoughts on the last command? Gabe, did you do the recap thing I did? Because I had to go back and recap book 2 so that I could understand what was going on.
No, I was planning on doing the recap, but then I started listening and I kind of remembered the important parts of what
cool.
like what was going on prior.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but it didn't affect the story. Like, you know, I
Yeah, for
knew
sure.
kind of where they came from and what was going on. But
Okay.
no, I wish I would have done though is just bit the bullet earlier and just listen to all 3 of them again, like
Ooh,
back to
yeah.
back, because I really enjoyed this book, but I feel like it's the kind of book that you'd want to just be done with the second book and start it right away, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But with that said, yeah, I thought it was awesome. Great ending to, you know, something really cool. Just something I never knew about, you know? It's kind of like this little gem that
Yes.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do think that these books are binge reads, and I
Yes.
think that you certainly benefit the most by going 1, 2, 3, just all the way through them. There's some books that don't need that, like I think the Night Angel trilogy or the Dresden Files, where you don't you're probably gonna want to binge read it, but you don't need to.
Yeah.
These books, book to book, I was the same way. I thought going into book 3, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember anything that happened in book 2.
Okay,
I'm gonna be so lost. I did listen to a recap. It wasn't like a super in-depth recap, but it gave me the gist of what happened in book 2. But going into book 3, I felt very much the same way that you did, Gabe, is that you know, once I got rolling into book 3, I was like, okay, that's right.
Yep.
Sabaoth wants the twins.
Yes.
Thrawn
Yeah.
is evil.
Literally what happened
you know?
to me. Yeah. All
Yeah.
all the important bits came back and I was like, okay, I know kind of what's going on, where they're at.
Right.
Like, I think at the end of the second book, probably just the biggest thing was that they got the big katana fleet or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
added
the
that.
Empire got it. Yeah.
Yeah, what? Where was the katana fleet in this book? I thought that was going to be a huge thing.
Well,
I think it's just implied that their forces are bigger now.
Yeah, and it was kind of in
Okay.
the beginning. You know, there were times where like Leia would be in the, you know, whatever the war room is or whatever, and they would mention like, you know, he's got the katana fleet, which is like thousands of destroyers, right? It's like very powerful, very big ships. And so yeah, exactly what I just said. I think they tried to imply, right, that now the Empire was this much more powerful, you know.
I just thought it was such a focus of book 2 especially, and I think it was in book 1 as well, if I remember correctly, but it was such a focus of book 2 that I thought for sure this katana fleet was going to be a major, you know, player in the overall story.
Yeah.
And I liked book 3 a lot. I think it was better than I think I liked it better than book 2. But there was also a couple things where I'm like, I don't know, there's some plot threads that aren't totally tied up. But we know that we have, after this, the next thing that Timothy Zahn writes in Star Wars is the Hand of Thrawn duology, so 2 books.
Yeah.
And so...
And you know what the timeline is on that?
10 years after this.
10 years after this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. In between, because I did so much research on this, in between, because I was like, what? I was like, I just want to see Luke and Mara get together. I'm like, can we? I'm like, I was so pissed when we got to the end of this book and Luke and Mara were like, all right, we're friends. And I was like,
yeah.
You! Like, I was so mad. So I furiously went to Google and I was like, when do Luke and Mara start dating? Like,
Yeah.
So they start dating in Timothy Zahn's duology. But if you want more Mara Jade, the next thing to go to, she shows up in I, Jedi, which chronologically takes place at the same time as Jedi Academy.
And that's a series in itself.
That's a trilogy in itself.
Okay. I have I, Jedi on my shelf. I've never read it though.
Oh, okay, yeah. So she shows up in that. She's not like a main character, but she's there in the background.
Gotcha.
And then Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy is the trilogy that basically takes place like right after this, and he opens up a Jedi Academy and is like training students.
So really, if you want to be a completionist, you got to read the Jedi Academy trilogy.
Yeah.
I, Jedi, then the Thrawn duology.
Right, but
That's a lot of books all of a sudden.
I know, but I don't think I'm gonna read the Jedi Academy right away, because from what I was seeing online, is Jedi Academy is written by a different author.
Oh yeah.
And so the Star Wars EU is I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's really, really cool.
Awesome.
It's like it's this big spanning project where all these different authors are adding to the stories of this universe, and I think that's a really, really incredible thing, much like Warhammer or the World of Warcraft books or anything like that. I think that's a really, really cool authorly endeavor. But what people were saying is that whoever did the Jedi Academy books kind of messed up some of the storylines that were started in the Thrawn trilogy.
Curious.
And so when Timothy Zahn takes over again in his duology, he has to kind of like retcon some things and like try to make it all like work and whatnot. And so I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't really care. I don't really care about Luke. I mean, I do. Like, I'll read it at some point, but I don't really care about Luke starting his Jedi Academy. I'm like, I'm here for Luke and Mara. I'm like, so I want to get to the duology to read that, and then apparently in the duology they kind of get together. They like start dating and realize that they're interested in each other and whatnot, and then there's a 4-part comic that comes immediately after the duology.
Oh, sheesh.
Called Union.
I think I've heard of that.
And that's where they like get married.
Oh.
And so I'm like, all right, so I got to read the duology at least, and then I got to read Union.
Right. Sheesh.
So
yeah, I stumbled onto a Instagram page. I think this is the right one, but it's jade.skywalker06.
Okay.
But they do like book reviews and stuff, but they had like a whole guide to like the Star Wars extended universe, like book reading stuff, and this person like leaves reviews and hot takes on everything, and it's like really in depth. It's like totally niche.
Yeah.
But awesome, and focuses specifically on like the legends stuff, not really canon.
Okay,
cool.
Things,
Sweet.
which is cool. Yeah.
I will check that out for sure. Send me a link to that, and I'll put it in the description of this video. That's super cool. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what's going on with Luke and Mara, because I thought that was the most interesting. I mean, besides Thrawn himself, I think that was the most interesting part of this trilogy. was Luke and Mara. What?
I just saw Isaac shaking his head. He's like, nah, that's not the most interesting thing. Come on, Spencer.
Well, no, I just was feeling like just Thrawn the end of Thrawn. This we're spoiling it.
Yeah.
When
Yeah, you're
Thrawn
good.
dies, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
I honestly didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
It was nearly like perfect though. It
Yep.
was.
Yeah.
I wanted him to like face, the
Repercussion.
heroes.
What he did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I wanted him to like face Luke and like die in
yeah.
battle against
Oh,
them or
yeah.
something. But
That's kind of how I
the
felt.
fact that Rook, the Nogri guard, was just, I wondered that early on in the book and maybe even the second half of or when do we learn about the Nogri becoming good guys?
Oh, in the last book.
It's
book
just
2.
in the last book?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a really huge thing from the last book.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, is Rook just really that out of touch with his
does he
people
not
that
know?
he's still just
Yeah.
following Thrawn? And I was a little bit thinking, like, how did Thrawn not know? How did he not? Were they that clever that they fooled him? And
I finished the 3rd book and I was listening to some reviews and just people, kind of just chatting about the book and stuff. And they brought up a few things. I can't remember all the specific points, but Thrawn's ego throughout these 3 books, and it's a well-deserved ego. Like, he's very, very good at being an admiral, but his ego is growing and growing and growing, and he finds out that there is some disruption or some dissension in the Nogri people, and he's like, it's fine. He's like, they are well under my thumb. I have them right where I want them. I don't need to go check in on them right now. Well, he should have. He should have gone to the Nogri people and spun his web of lies or whatever he needed to do, because little did he know that there's this whole like Nogri uprising.
wow.
And in his ego, he's just thinking, I'm their god, basically. He's like, we own them.
Right.
So I don't see. Yeah, I think it's just like his ego is just getting in the way, and he wasn't ready to fully, or he wasn't willing to like consider the possibility that somebody would betray him like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He gets stabbed. Admiral Pelion gets punched in the throat.
Yeah, did he? I couldn't understand. Did he get punched in the throat, or did he get like sliced in the throat? Because at first I thought he like cut his throat, but then Pelion lives, obviously.
I think I remember it said struck. Like
Oh.
He got struck.
Oh, okay.
In the throat or something. Because he was able to call a retreat after Thrawn's dead.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I think he's alive.
Yeah, he's definitely alive. I listened to the sample for whatever the next duology. I listened to you get like a 5-minute sample. It's like the first 5 minutes of the books, and he's now the admiral. He's what Thrawn is.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we got this guy now.
Yep.
But he probably would feel very happy to be able to be the leader after saying, we should do this. Thrawn's like, no. And then Thrawn being right every time, and now finally he could learn to be the leader, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought a couple funny quotes from the book.
Okay.
I thought starting out the book, he must have just been in a great mood. Maybe he was like, sweet, I started the 3rd book, and maybe he was feeling a little silly. But I liked the quotes, like, one was, this way we kill 2 dune lizards with one stone. I was like, just kind of these meta weird references. And like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that
awesome.
one too. Yeah.
Han had been nervous as a tauntaun on a ball he was as nervous as a tauntaun on ball bearing. Stood out like a bantha at a Jawa family gathering.
Yeah.
And eat like starving Wookiees. Like,
Oh my gosh! Wow.
it's like those are great. I want to
Yeah,
like
those are
incorporate that into my regular dialogue, so
Yep,
people are
yep.
like, "What did you just say?" And
Right.
only the real ones will realize what I said.
Right. That's right.
That's so funny. Before we move on too far, I do want to talk about like how Thrawn died, because you had said like I wanted him to go up against Skywalker with like a big battle or something, and I was kind of thinking, Sabaoth would be Skywalker and Mara's fight, right? And then I was thinking that Thrawn would be the rebels fight. I thought it was going to be like the rebels coming in to kill him.
Right.
Were you disappointed with the Nogri killing him, or were you, Gabe? Like, did you think it was going to be a different way?
Well, I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with what you guys were saying. Like, I kind of would have figured, right? The reasonable answer to that is Luke or whoever would go right and take care of him. But I was so stoked for the Nogri. I was like, good riddance.
Yeah. Some justice for the.
Yeah, some justice for them, and it was unexpected. But the second it happened, I was like, good. I think that fits really well, and good for Rook.
Yeah, I liked it. I don't think I was ready for it.
Yeah,
but
it took me by surprise. It was kind of like abrupt. It was like, oh, now he's dead.
I had heard that there was more Thrawn stuff written by Timothy Zahn, so I just figured, oh, he must be alive still. Right. So I didn't expect him to die in this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so he just gets stabbed. But it makes me excited. I hope that as they continue to make Thrawn stuff in live action, I hope that I get to see him die in live action. I hope they do it really well.
Oh, have they not done that yet?
No, he's like only kind of new in live action.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was a great kill. I do kind of wish that the rebels had done it, but I think the Nogri is a good second option, and especially there was two great lines during that scene. And it was when the Nogri kind of comes from behind him and he like stabs him, and he like leans in and he says, for the, what does he say? For the atrocities you've committed against the Nogri people. And then he slips away. It's like, oh, just like telling him at the last minute, like, this is why. That was like such a good line. And then Pelion turns around and Thrawn is just kind of accepting his fate. He's like slumped over and he's like bleeding out from his chest. And Pelion's like, but. And Thrawn says, but it was so artistically done. I'm like, what a great line. Oh, that has to be the best, like I'm about to die kind of line ever. Like, but it was so artistically done. Like he's appreciating the nuance in the kill. Like,
and it's
I'm wow,
it's so Thrawn.
So
that's such a Thrawn.
I know, especially because he's like an art aficionado. Like he loves like,
and he's a tactician, and he's like just so brilliant.
Yeah, it's like, is he humble or that prideful, or like, what is his true perspective on that? Just I know. Yeah, part of me is like, he's like humble enough to admit, well, yeah, I left my guard down there and he got me. Yep. Or is he like so like heady and prideful and thinks he had so much control over it that he was like, yes, this was the one way, and you knew it. Like, I don't know. Oh, it's such a good like death, I guess. I don't know. It's so artistically done. That's got to be the name of the thumbnail for this video. It's so artistically done.
There you go.
My other note here is, again, why are these not movies? It makes no sense. I don't know. They had a perfect trilogy. This would have been amazing. They could have expanded on these books. Oh yeah, in so many ways. Why do they make movies off of? I don't know. They've made movies based on books before. Why couldn't they have done it? I know. It blows my mind. I'm like, man, you had the perfect. Like, you hardly had to do any work. You just have to write like better dialogue and make it fit a movie, and oh man, blows my mind. So now that we've read all three books, what do we think of Mara Jade as a character? Like her whole like arc and everything. Are you guys sold on the character? Are you like, let's wait and see? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably place myself in between sold and wait and see, if that's an option. Yeah, I definitely enjoy the way that her arc is going, like, quite a bit. I think I'm glad that she's starting to kind of see, the lies, right? Kind of see what's
Mhm.
not true and what is. Um, but I really like listening, watching her character. I think she's probably one
Mhm.
of my favorite to watch or to read.
Mhm.
Um, when I play these scenes out in my mind, I just really always
Yeah.
enjoy her parts and kind of, I don't know, just how
Yeah.
she is, I guess.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah, I think that she. I do wish that being the Emperor's hand, I wish she had a few more moments of just being like BA,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
doing epic stuff. But besides that, I like her character, and I didn't I mean, you were wanting to see them get together in this book. I was thinking if they get together in this book, it's gonna be too soon. Personally,
Yeah.
I thought like she was so evil and
Yeah.
manipulated
Yeah.
that
And she
I
wanted to
think
kill Luke like right up until very close to the end
right
of this
till
book too.
she did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why that
That was another thing. I thought maybe she'd find a way to let it go,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but the way that she resolves her trauma is
by
by
killing the
doing
clone.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just was so happened that she had a scapegoat to
Yeah.
Yep.
get it out of her system. It was like, well, I don't think that's the best counseling for someone to say, hey,
Well,
you have
it's
trauma
like,
saying to do this? Just do it.
and it's like, what would you have done if you didn't have that clone to like take
Right.
your, trauma out
Right.
on? Like, I don't know. Yeah, Mara Jade in this book. I think I liked Mara more in the second book. And like, of course, I always enjoy her scenes and everything. But yeah, I thought, I thought her arc in this book was weird because she's still hanging on to this I gotta kill Luke Skywalker thing. And I kind of thought that she had dropped that in the second book.
Right.
And so it was weird to see it like carried over so much into this book.
Well,
And so I
because
was kind of
she was
hoping.
like being poisoned, like her mind was being poisoned by, like the Emperor's will. I think, right? Isn't that what was going on?
Right.
Yeah,
It was like straight up, what do they call that?
Something voodoo.
like, but it wasn't
Voodoo.
like a, because Skywalker even says,
Schizophrenia, almost.
Yeah,
Like schizophrenia.
yeah,
yeah,
She
A real
kept hearing
voice in her
his
head.
voice, but I thought there was a point where like they kind of like brought it down to science. Like there was like the Emperor like planted that in her head when he
well,
died
no, because
because she finds out that the Emperor didn't die. Luke didn't kill the Emperor, right? Well, Luke says like I didn't do it, and Luke's like, oh, she's being lied to about this, and she keeps hearing the
well,
Emperor's
she
voice.
she just finds out that Vader killed the Emperor instead of Luke.
Oh yeah, that was interesting because in that chapter where she made it says something about how she made the realization that the Emperor's whole kill Luke Skywalker wasn't out of the Emperor's hate
Yes.
for Luke as much as it was to like just finish off Darth Vader by killing his son.
Right.
So really, the Emperor just
He had
so much beef
more to do with Anakin
Vader,
than yeah.
Anakin. And so that was a moment for her to realize, oh crap, I hate Luke Skywalker because I was taught to hate Luke Skywalker,
Yep.
but really I should have been hating Darth Vader this whole time.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
that's why the Emperor wanted. So she never knew the why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're starting an organization or an empire, make sure that your mission statement and vision
Yeah,
statement
it's
are
very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as far as her motivations, I don't think because Luke even says at some point, he's like the Empire or the Empire, the Emperor isn't actually talking into your head. He's like any decisions you're making are your own, and you have
Right.
to own your choices. He's like you don't have to like you're choosing to want to kill me. Like you're making a choice here.
But it
And
doesn't change the fact that she was hearing his voice say kill Luke Skywalker though, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's like a supernatural thing. I think it's just in her head, like she's just replaying his voice over and over because she's so, programmed or whatever. I don't think the Emperor is like reaching out through the beyond or anything to like influence her.
You think it's internal, it's not
Yeah.
like a spell or
No,
something.
yeah, I don't think it's like a spell or anything. I think it's just her being traumatized.
It's literal trauma.
Yeah.
It's literal negative voices in our head.
That's what I got from it.
Gotcha.
I never picked up like a supernatural vibe to it necessarily. And so I was kind of like, I don't know. There was just a lot with that where I was like, I thought that this kind of got resolved in the second book. So I was just surprised to see it carried over to this book is all, and have so much time spent on it. I do think her killing the clone was a little clumsy. I think that could have been, it would have been better if she had showed up in the throne room with Luke and Sabioth had affected her mind to the point where she's like fighting the real Luke. And then it's like them like versus each other and he's like, I don't want to kill you. And she's like, fighting this desire or like this influence through Sabioth. And then eventually she like breaks free of it and like, they're like fighting and they're getting closer and closer to Sabioth and finally she turns to him and kills him. That would have been, I think, a better scene.
I like that idea.
But I was surprised as all hell to see a clone of Luke.
Yeah, I didn't know about that at all. Like I'd heard about Mara Jade and I knew that she was a character and that eventually Luke and her get together.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, and I know about Thrawn but yeah, I didn't know about Clone Luke. It actually kind of got spoiled for me because Hasbro released some action figures commemorating this book.
Really?
This last year, and there was in the box set. There's a Luke, there's a Dark Luke, there's Sabaoth, and there's Mara Jade. And I was like, why are there two Lukes, and why does the other one look grumpy? And then I read like the cover on the box, and it said the clone of Luke. And I was like, no.
That sucks.
Yeah,
Dang
but
it.
I didn't know how, so it was really fascinating to know that it was Luke's hand that they used to clone from Bespin when Darth Vader cuts it off, and it's Anakin's lightsaber, and I thought that was cool, and I thought it was really neat that he offers the lightsaber to Mara. It's like, whoa, that's an epic lightsaber to keep.
No kidding.
Wait, did Luke give Anakin's lightsaber to Mara?
Yes.
Oh,
That's the one he was offering to her in the last chapter there.
I thought it was his. I thought she had just said it was like some old lightsaber of Luke's.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it was a very old lightsaber.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh
yeah.
man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I did like the ending where he gives that to her, and she's like, why is he giving me this? Like, what does it mean? I'm just like, oh.
You're like, why couldn't it have been a wedding ring instead of a
Yeah, for real.
Like, I just want, I literally, I don't know. I thought we were getting to see that in these books, and we just didn't, which is fine. I'm okay with reading the duology or whatever, but I was just surprised. So I think going back to Mara as a character, I think she is fascinating. I love the idea of a character going from like the dark side to the light side and like this whole kind of rehabilitation type thing, and her working with Card and all that kind of stuff. And kind of the rehabilitation a little bit of Card and the other criminals. Like he's kind of made this republic of smugglers.
Right.
And now he's kind of the new Han Solo type character.
Right.
And they're like helping the Republic. And I liked at the end there with the big like X-Wing fight, and the Republic pilots are in the sky, and the one of the, I forget what smuggler it is, but one of the guys in the one of the guys in the little criminal empire group show up. He's like, I'm gonna help you guys. Like, can we trust you? He's like, you're gonna have to. And it's like, I love that moment where they kind of come together. Card was a great character in general. I
Yeah,
really
he
liked
was cool.
Card.
Oh yeah,
I
there
like
was a
how he
nod to.
kept reiterating that he was neutral. We're neutral in this.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's like, I'm neutral. It's like,
Yep.
no,
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah,
And
no, you're not.
They literally quote Han Solo. Leia's like, he's like, Card says, "I'm not in this for your rebellion or whatever.
Mhm.
I
like
have
that.
my own outcomes I desire or something."
Yeah.
And she is like smiling. He's like, "Don't smile like that" or something.
She's like, I remember.
And
when
she's
Han said
remembering
that.
Han's like, "I'm not in this for your rebellion, princess."
Yeah.
But here he is
Mhm.
on the good guy's side, and
So good.
that was cool. That was neat, and it was neat to see the staging of Card earning the trust of all the smugglers with
Yeah.
he gets all of them together, and there was
Mhm.
a dude that kind of overstepped and
Yeah,
the whole thing with
Farrier.
yeah.
He was gonna he was gonna screw everybody over because he had a wraith. Do you remember what
Oh,
these
yeah.
wraith things are? I couldn't remember what the
No, I
wraiths
don't
are.
remember.
Like these shadowy, like ghoul type
Last
things.
time, here, I'm gonna Google it right now.
But yeah, I thought that was a fantastic scene because you have the one guy, Masick, who comes in and he's like blaming Card. He's like, you know, you know, I forget what he was accusing him of, but he's like, you did this thing, and then Farrier was next to him, and Card is you're kind of getting Card's perspective, like in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, these two are working together to try to plant evidence and all this stuff, but it turns out that it was just Farrier. It wasn't Masick, and like Masick genuinely thought that Card had done something.
Right, which that's awesome to have that
Yeah.
tension.
Yeah, it was a really good scene.
In my mind, I felt like they were at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, so I felt like I was there a little bit when they have the big meeting.
Yeah.
And the Empire just starts shooting on them. I thought, I can imagine it so well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good how like every little piece of information, because it's like they ask Farrier, they're like, how does he know the lieutenant's name on the data card, and how did he know like the time of the meeting, because no one gave him an invite. And Mask is like, wait, you didn't invite him? And so it all kind of comes to a head where Farrier like makes Card like fly him back to his ship, and then he throws back like a net to like hold them for a while, which I thought was kind of a funny delay tactic, just like a big net. Okay. But yeah, it was a great scene. I was kind of on the edge of my seat in like a political intrigue kind of way.
I was like, come on, Card.
Yeah, it's like,
you can do it.
Like who's gonna outsmart who, and like I thought it was really, really good. Who is the heir to the Empire?
I'd read your note there, and I was thinking, it could be Mara, it could be Luke, it could be Sabayoth, and when I first started, I thought it was Thrawn. I thought Thrawn was like the heir to the Empire, but I could see how it could be really strong.
Because it could be
anyway.
It could be Luke, as in, he's the son of Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Could be Mara Jade, because she was the hand of the Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Could be Thrawn, because he literally takes over Vader's position, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Could be Sabayoth, because he's trying to take the Emperor's position. So it's like, who's the heir? Like, because initially when I wrote this note, I wrote, I just realized that the heir to the Empire is Mara Jade. LOL, I'm so stupid. And then I read for another 15 minutes and I came back to this note and I was like, or wait, is it Thrawn? And then 30 minutes later, oh wait, was it Luke? Like, wait. And so I'm like going down this rabbit hole in my head. And I'm like, who is the actual heir to the Empire? Who is it referencing? I
think it is technically Thrawn.
Is it?
Just a quick Google. And I'm remembering in the Ahsoka show, they say that.
Oh.
It's just a straight up name drop.
Oh, okay.
He's the heir to the Empire.
Oh, okay.
But I like the nuance of thinking
it could be a lot of.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be any of these people.
Yeah.
It could be clone Luke. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be clone Luke.
It could be Chewie.
So yeah. Then what do you guys think about the Nogri? Did you like their storyline, or do you think they were like interesting, or what? Do you guys have any thoughts on them?
I feel like we got more of it, and it was more interesting in book 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I like him, and I think it's cool that they kind of, are starting to rebel after however long, believing this lie that the Empire made up about their whole entire planet, right?
Yeah.
And they torched their planet basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Empire had been telling them that it was making their crops grow. They were like putting down this thing to make their crops grow.
Yeah,
again.
but they've been salting the earth the whole time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I thought they were interesting. I wish we had gotten more of them, or like maybe more in depth. When Leia and Han first go out there and meet them, I was initially thinking, oh, these guys are going to be around for a second. This is just going to be some faction they interact with real quick. And then they ended up being a big part of the trilogy, which is really cool. And I kind of wonder if we'll see more of them. Like, do they appear in many other Star Wars things?
No, not usually. And it's kind of a shame, really, because their story is really neat in these books. How it's got redemption in it, and they're so closely tied to Thrawn. The fact that he's used them as his assistants
and Vader,
and bodyguards, and then the fact that they're closely tied to Vader, and now they're like, it's not even necessarily the New Republic they're dedicated to. They're dedicated to Leia and Luke because they're Vader's kids.
Right? Yeah, son of Vader, Lady Vader.
So that's a really cool thing, in the fact that they're now just using their incredible skills to help them on whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So in the movies and shows and stuff, so far there hasn't really been any. Rook shows up, but not as a real character. Mostly just like here's an action scene where Rook's there and he's gonna go chase down the person.
What do they look like in the live action?
No live action. It's just a cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
gotcha.
He shows up in the Rebels show, and then he shows up for a moment in Tales of the Empire. They're like shorts that are really cool. They're really cool to watch. Yeah,
I googled Rook, Rukh, if anybody's interested, and yeah, he looks interesting. He's kind of like this skinny, just kind of alien, like classic alien looking guy.
Like Roswell looking alien guy?
Yeah, kind of. Okay. Yeah.
I like his name though.
I do too.
The fact, because isn't Rook a chess piece?
Yeah. Yeah. And it kind of fits with how this book ends. Yeah. It's pretty cool. So as we kind of go look at specific scenes, not that we haven't really been doing that already, but now that we kind of exclusively look at, certain scenes, I liked the book opens up with Thrawn and a couple different things, but one of the early chapters is Luke is in Kaleidos Sage Leader. Is this how I did the audiobook, so I don't know how it's spelled or anything.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
But it's this giant crystal in the sky with a city sculpted into it.
Oh, cool.
And he's there, and he's trying to track down how the clones were made and where they're being held and all that kind of stuff. He runs into Card. Luke tells Card that the clones are being grown in 20-day increments, which is crazy because when they're initially talking about it, Card is like, well, it takes them about like 5 years to grow a clone. Like, it's not like an overnight thing. And Luke's like, no, these are being grown in like 15 to 20 day increments, and that's like a big like he's like, what? And
Yep.
do we ever learn how he's doing it that fast?
Uh,
I don't know if we
they,
learn like exactly how, but there's a point where Mara, I don't know if Mara and Leia are talking, but they talk about like the process. Like she's like, yeah, they have a nutrient delivery device set up and some other
Hmm.
stuff, but that just might be normal clone
Right.
process.
and then there was a
So
part also about, yeah, I didn't fully understand it.
Hmm.
So there was another part about how they were using the Islamari to keep the like living force from messing with the clones while they were being
Oh.
oh
made.
yeah, forgot about that.
Because I think maybe they alluded to the fact or said something that the force created some kind of disease or something that would inhibit them. I don't know. It was brief, but
Yeah,
they're using the Islamari to make the clones to hold back the force.
Hmm.
I just don't remember why
why
the force
that's
was
important.
bad.
Yeah,
Right.
But it makes sense. I mean, to make a clone, and especially that fast, you're literally manipulating a living thing, and
yeah, and
so
you're kind of like
that's what the
cheating.
force is.
Yeah, you're kind of like
Mhm.
cheating the force almost. Like it's
Yeah,
not
Yeah.
you're
like
cheating life and
yeah, you're cheating life and kind of
the
yeah. So no
natural way
wonder
of
they have to
things.
keep it out. I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're breaking the natural order, and that's what the force is. You know?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
It's a
that
good
makes sense.
perspective. So then, while Luke is on Kaleidos Sage Leader, there's this really cool scene that I thought, dude, in these three books, Luke has done some of the coolest stuff. I wish I could remember some of the really cool scenes from the previous two books, but there was scenes where I was like, that was so like BA, like that was so cool. And what he does at the beginning of this book is he gets spotted by some stormtroopers and he does this thing where he jumps outside of Kaleidos Sage Leader, this big crystal that has like this like shield barrier type thing. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but he uh he wraps his left hand in cloth to keep his fingers safe. And then he takes his lightsaber and he cuts a downward slash around the outside of the crystal,
Oh yeah.
and he's holding on to it with his left hand, and his lightsaber is in front of him cutting at a downward angle, and he's sliding down this channel that he's making with his cut.
Trip
He's
out.
like a zip line and just
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, that was so cool. I'm like, I love that. I thought that was so like inventive, and I love that Timothy Zahn actually put in there that he like had to wrap his hand in like
Yeah,
cloth
that is
because
cool.
like yeah, that makes sense. And of course the lightsaber makes such a clean cut. It's like bored completely smooth, so it'd be really slick. And
Right.
so and especially with the angle, he's just like just like zipping around. I'm like, that is so cool,
Trip
dude.
out.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that was a
That's near
favorite
the
scene of
beginning of
mine.
the book.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
pretty close to the
I don't
beginning.
even remember it.
Yeah, because
Crazy.
he's spying on the troopers and he sees them like going up into the ship, and he's like watching them, and then they see him and he's like, oh, I'm seen, I gotta run, and so he runs and just like jumps off the side and like grabs the side of this crystal.
That was so sick.
It's
Super
so
BA
yeah, just like
stuff.
action hero moment.
Jedi
Like
Knight moment.
yeah, it's so cool. Another scene that I really liked is when we get back to Thrawn's ship. Luke is escaping and they're trying to lock onto him. And Luke like evades them somehow. He like does some technique. And Thrawn, he completely gets away. And Thrawn goes to the um, force field generator. I forget what it's called. The beam something.
Tractor beam.
Tractor beam. Thank you. And he goes to the guy that runs that, and he's like, "Why did he evade you?" And the guy goes, "I did everything by the book. I did exactly how we're supposed to do it, but he made some maneuver that outdid, our normal procedure." He's like, "So he's like, technically, I didn't do anything wrong. I just like it just failed to trap him.
Yeah, there was in the Thrawns, there was a word for that maneuver, like a very specific word.
Yeah, I can't remember
Me
what it
neither.
was.
It's gonna bother me.
I know, but there was a certain maneuver that Luke did, and so Thrawn. This scene is so good on so many levels because it shows you what kind of character Thrawn is, whereas Vader would have like force choked him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And been like, you know, you have disappointed me for the last time, kind of thing. And Thrawn, he says, you know, he basically asks him like, do you think you could figure out a way to like make it so that he can't evade that thing that our ship does anymore? And the kid is like, I guess so, if I spent enough time on it. And he's like, all right, you're promoted to lieutenant, and your first job is to, you know, figure that out.
Wow.
And, you know, the kid is thinking that he's going to get killed. And for him to get promoted and given this task, you know, is it Pelion? Yeah, Pelion. What's up?
Covert shroud maneuver.
Wow, pulled that out of nowhere.
Let's go.
Good job.
Yep.
Covert shroud maneuver. Awesome.
That's what it's called.
That's so great. I love that. And so Pelion in this moment, he's like kind of watching this from the sideline, and he's realizing that the old like blatant tyranny of the Empire is over, and this is ushering in a new age of the Empire, of people that are proud to be working for the Empire, because it's not just like this tyrannical like, I'll kill you if you don't do things exactly right. And so I loved this scene because it showed who Thrawn is. It shows that he's cold and calculating, but he's also fair, and for the most part.
Yeah.
And he's not like quick to anger. He's collected, and he thinks about his resources and what he can have certain people do.
Yeah. He understands that. Well, I think he understands that the Empire is actually a certain size now. It's not as people aren't as expendable as they used to be because troops are dwindling.
That's
with
true.
The size of the Empire.
That's true. That's true. And doesn't he also say, it's either in the last book or the first book, he said that there's a difference between an error and a mistake.
Yeah.
He's like, an error, I forget which way it's flip-flopped, but let's say error. He's like, an error you can look at and, you know, course correct.
I think it was the other way around.
Was it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, like, so a mistake you can look at and course correct and change how you do things in the future. An error is something that is inherently foreign
wrong.
to you.
Like you knew the right way to do it, but you still made an error.
Right.
Or kind of along those lines.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like that's like what he's putting into practice in this situation.
The quote is, anyone can make an error, but that error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it.
Okay, so it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I love this scene for so many reasons, because Pelion then goes on to say in his like inner monologue POV, is that, you know, with Thrawn doing things like this crew will not just, you know, obey him. They will die for him, because they feel respected and they feel trusted.
They're not just obeying out of fear, right? Like they're seeing that he is actually like a good leader, and he's trying to, you know, better things, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I told my boss recently, you know, I'm moving on to another job, and on my way out I told him that you know, I really appreciated how much he respected his guys and how much he trusted them, and how big of a leash he gave them, because it showed that he had trust and respect and fairness in us. And it made me want to work harder for him. It made me want to, make him happy because he was a good boss to me. And so I very much felt this scene. I was like, I see what Pelion is getting at here. Leia's twins are born. Is it Gina? Is that?
It's Jaina.
Jaina and Jason. I was like, Gina?
Yeah, I thought it was like, two J's.
Gina.
Gina.
Hey, Gina.
Hey, Gina. I was like, that's a weird name for a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
That was cool. I thought it was cool how she Leia connects with those, even when they're unborn still, connects with them in the Force. I thought that was a trip. Yeah.
That
weirds me out. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, it is. It's kind of weird. It's a little ominous.
I like the idea, but just I felt like I shouldn't be listening to them talking.
Right? Yeah.
It's too personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they at some point they like recognize each other, right? The
do.
Twins, they like recognize each other and have their own like.
Yeah,
Force
I think
link.
it's after they're born, and even like I think during the birth, like
Yeah.
I can't remember who's born first, but she's like actively calming down a newborn baby's mind, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, because Jaina's born first, and then whatever the midwife tells her
Winter, I think is her name. Is that right?
Winter,
yeah, tells her that Jason is like trying to force his way out because he doesn't want to be separated from his sister. And so I'm really interested to see what's going on with these twins when we get to the duology, because I think they're going to be they're obviously Force sensitive.
Oh, for sure. I think they're going to be very potent Force wielders for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially with the parentage and uncle that they are going to have.
Oh yeah.
I remember reading this part where they're being born, and after having 2 children myself, like I didn't give birth.
But you were there. You were part of the whole process. Yeah.
I was like, get through this.
Just get it over with. Yep.
So good. Mara keeps telling Leia she's gonna kill Luke.
Yeah.
And Leia's just like, sure you are.
Yeah, Leia's just like, okay, honey, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Yeah. I don't know how to feel about it. I thought it was funny, but I'm like, okay, Mara, get on with it.
Well,
I'm just like either do it or don't. Like
my thought, at least when I was reading, like I really felt like she was affected by what she, like you said, schizophrenia, what she thought, because she's fighting it too. She's like, did he say that or what? Did he really say that, or why am I having such trouble? Like with this topic, when somebody tells me, when somebody doubts it, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. I felt like she was being, influenced a lot. And in ways that she didn't want to be, because she was kind of fighting it, at least towards, as we got further and further, she would question her thought.
Yeah, I think I'm super interested to see where she goes from here, because now that the baggage is dropped, now that we have that out of the way, is she still like, is she now like a good person like almost immediately?
Right.
Or is there like a bigger like recovery period? Or
there's gotta be a recovery period, dude. I don't think you can just I don't know. I wouldn't like it if she immediately became a good person.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be the worst.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, that sounds terrible, but from a storyline perspective,
I know what you mean. From a writing perspective, it would be weird.
Yeah, I thought the what was it called, Delta Source or whatever?
Oh yeah,
they kept Thrawn kept being able to predict the rebels, or the new Republic was like, how does he know everything we're doing?
So I actually missed this in the book, but I caught it in somebody's YouTube video.
Okay, yeah, it's like plants.
Yeah.
There were plants.
Yep.
But like, where are the plants? They're in a ship.
No, the plants were just like in courtyard and just like planted around the.
In the
just
ship
like
they're in?
No, on
the home
Coruscant?
base
on
or-
Coruscant, like
yep.
in the capital or the Jedi Temple or
Yep.
I don't know whatever building that is.
Okay.
They're just like there. So that was kind of a trip to realize. Ah,
And so, but did he plant them there?
don't remember. The
Yeah, I
origin
don't
of the
remember either.
plants.
The only so what's the name of the slicer? It starts with a G.
Ghent.
Ghent,
Ghent?
yeah.
Yeah.
Ghent was cool.
Ghent
I
was
liked
cool.
him a lot.
Yeah, because he like at some point I can't remember when this happens, but he basically like brings this thing to Leia. Say, yeah, I sliced that code you were talking about, blah blah blah. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that code. And she's like, are you talking about this? He's like, yeah, I sliced it. Took me a little while, but I got it done. Passes it to her. She's like, holy crap! We've been looking for this forever.
Right.
Yeah. That's a fun moment.
Yeah, I liked his character a lot, especially when she's like, why don't you join like our professional, she had a different name for him, but like our professional slicers or whatever. And he's like, okay, and like goes over there and then she talks to him later. He's like, yeah, they had like these training routines that they were like having me do, but they were super boring.
Yeah, and
in-
she's like, are
in
you
Leia's-
talking about the?
Yeah, in Leia's POV, she's like,
Yeah.
those are like the most advanced techniques
Yeah.
that the Republic knows about, and to him it was like just these boring like training regimens.
Awesome.
And so yeah, I loved him. He was so great, and I loved that Card. So Card creates this republic of cronies, right? Of criminals, and they're starting to turn on him because they're like, we haven't gotten any money yet. You want us to go get this information, but we don't have. You're not giving us any money. And so he has Ghent essentially just like steal money from the Republic
Yeah.
and funnel it into the criminals, and just for like a pay ahead of time. And it pays off. Like they get paid and they do a lot of work for the Republic and stuff. But I just thought it was funny how Card's like, well, I don't have any money to give you now, but
Yeah, I thought that's funny that Card was helping, but at the end of the day, he was just getting paid the whole time.
Oh yeah, totally.
And he's
Yeah.
like,
He's a neutral
maybe-
party.
You're right. So maybe he really did care, but he was also like, if I can make some
That's
money.
right. If I can get paid for this, I'm gonna
Like
do
even
it.
near the end there, Phalia, who hasn't been in the whole book, right? You remember Phalia? He's the
Yep.
Bothan guy who was in the
Yeah.
last book. He's like, I don't care if it kills all the rebels to accomplish my purpose. Or whatever.
right, yeah.
I don't think he's in the whole book until
Yeah.
near the end, where he just happened to be one of the Nogri sneak off and find him eavesdropping on Card and Leia,
Yeah.
and they bring him out, and he's like, Card convinces him to pay him
Mhm.
to go do the thing he was probably gonna do anyway.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Card is such a good character. That's someone that I would watch a video essay on.
Yeah.
Just a breakdown.
That would be a
of
good.
Card.
So when they made the Book of Boba Fett show,
Mhm.
I was expecting like a.
Was Card in it?
No, he wasn't in it, but it was the first show that really like focused on the underworld.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought it was going to be, was the underworld stuff, and I thought it was going to be almost like Peaky Blinders of Star Wars,
right.
where Boba Fett's the leader, and it was not at all, and so many people are disappointed with that. It would be really cool to see.
A Talon
I did
Card
not mean
show.
to make a Trump motion there. It would be really cool to see, a Talon Card show where he just, he's running the show. Did you watch The Penguin that just came out?
I haven't seen it yet.
I
I've
haven't
been meaning
either.
to.
The Penguin reminded me of Peaky Blinders and how he keeps getting himself into these situations where it's like, oh, he's screwed, like he's gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool to see that with Card.
Yeah.
And then see all these things.
Is that how you pictured Talon Card?
Yeah.
I
'Cause I'd
I
seen
thought he was
pictures
kind
of
of like
him.
an alien guy.
No, I imagined him in my brain. I'd always thought of him as Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul.
Oh yeah.
That's how my
Interesting.
mind always saw him, and that guy kind of looks like him.
Interesting. Yeah, I did not. I don't know why I pictured him as a little alien guy.
You talking about Ross Al Ghul from like Arrow and DC and stuff? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird. In The Dark Knight, they pronounce him Ra's al Ghul, and then in the Batman animated series from the 90s 2000s is like it's Raish, and in the show they correct him. He's like Ra's, and he's like, no, it's Raish.
Oh,
So, even within the DC's stuff, they don't even say it right.
that's funny.
But a cool thing I heard about George Lucas saying, you know how people say Han and Han and stuff. He said
That literally happened at multiple times in this book. I'm like, some characters called him Han, and then what's his name calls him Han.
George Lucas. There's like a quote by him responding about that, how in a real world people from different places pronounce things differently.
Yeah.
And he's like, so of course people are gonna say things differently, like that.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, man, was that just a sly like cover up?
I know. I mean, it's a perfect cover up.
It's real.
Yeah, it's a good cover up.
It's a good cover up.
Yeah.
And did you know, in just more weird trivia, in A New Hope, when Grand Moff Tarkin's threatening Leia that he'll blow up her home planet if he doesn't tell her the location of the rebel base.
Yeah.
She says Dantooine.
Oh.
And she's like, they're on Dantooine. They meant, the script apparently said Tatooine, like where Luke and Anakin are from, but she messed up and they just decided to keep it. And boom, new planet.
Yeah. Oh, new planet?
Yeah, because Dantooine's it wasn't a place at the time. Like, she accidentally said it, and now it's canon.
Oh, I thought they were just gonna be like, well, it's just how she pronounces Tatooine.
No, it's a new place. A whole new place.
Wow.
They're like, Dantooine, cool, let's keep it.
Dantooine, wow, awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about Sabaoth because he was an interesting character in this book for sure. Does anybody understand why he's under the impression that the Empire is his? Because that was his whole thing in this book. He was like going head to head with Thrawn, saying, "The Empire is mine. It's not yours." And I unless there's something I forgot from the last book, I was like, I just can't remember why he thinks he's entitled to.
Isn't he like kind of
seat
sick?
Of the Empire?
Like, isn't there like a problem he has, like that's going on?
Well, yeah, he's like slowly mentally going insane.
Yeah, but
he's also a clone.
Yeah, okay, that's why. Because he's a clone, he's like slipping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mentally.
He's hysterical. Like, he thinks that he has more power than he really does.
Yeah, and that was my assumption is why he thought that is because he was like, it's almost it's like Alzheimer's almost, right? Like, you don't really know kind of what the reality is versus what your brain is telling you the reality is.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then, because I didn't know if it was like something like that or if I'm like, wait, is he like somehow like going to be given the seat of the Empire? Like, what?
Right, no. Yeah, he was just crazy. And it even was crazy that General, I wrote Clavel. I kind of understand how he said it. The general that went with Sabaoth to Wayland, he manipulated that guy's brain to try to make him like a mindless servant. And then the next chapter begins with, well, this general is missing. Oh, he's dead. Like, because Sabaoth tried to do that and it ended up killing him. But Sabaoth thinks that he has control over this guy. But I think he's just dead because he wasn't supposed to do that. I think if I read that right.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
Dang.
Yeah, I think he's crazy.
He's definitely crazy.
Yeah, he was doing, man. Yeah, he was an interesting.
But he was still powerful. He did have power. Like,
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
said he was
that's
throwing rocks and like force throwing rocks and stuff. And there was a moment where I thought, wow, he's going harder than the Emperor did to fight Luke. So I did Google. I was like, was Sabayoth like nearly as powerful as the Emperor? And the internet said no. But
okay.
in the thing, I was like, man, he's putting up a fight. Like,
he's
going.
Yeah.
He's got, and there's even a moment. I mean, she gets out of it pretty easily, but he's able to like encase Mara in like these rocks, and she like carves her way out of it.
And he does some mind control too, doesn't he? Like some.
He definitely has some mental influence for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mara realizes that Luke is Vader's son, and I'm kind of like, does everyone not know this? Like, is this not like public information?
I guess not. It's not like I would want to tell people.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. When he became Darth Vader, did people just stop saying Anakin and
Right.
just had to go find his birth certificate somewhere?
Yeah.
What's your social security number?
Yeah.
Can you really run for emperors from the galaxy or no?
Oh yeah, did you guys understand this scene where Card calls Leia and he's like, I want to talk to Mara to let her know that I haven't left her behind, I've just been busy. And Leia's like, I can't, like, she's in the cell, but like chapters before this, Leia had broken her out to go with Luke on their mission.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why was Leia not willing to tell Card that she had let Mara go?
I think because they were communicating over the
channel.
Over the channel.
Yeah.
And she was afraid that there'd be eavesdroppers
Yeah.
that'd find out that Mara wasn't there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
so it wasn't
right.
that she was necessarily keeping it secret from Card.
Yeah.
It was that it was from anyone else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The asteroid thing was interesting too. I don't think I fully understood the whole the asteroids.
The asteroid thing?
Yeah, so like
that?
the
Yeah.
cloaked asteroids were put around Coruscant.
Yep.
I didn't understand it. That's the whole reason why. Yeah, I had to Google a lot of things, and Google AI freaks me out. It was very helpful.
Yeah.
So like, Thrawn was in Coruscant's airspace and released all these asteroids, and there were like 20 real ones, and then they used some kind of technology to make it look like the whole atmosphere was full of asteroids.
Like one of the cloaking projectors or something, or several of
yeah,
them.
like a holographic.
And they talk about, like, somebody asked about how could they do that? They'd need so much power. And I think it was General Iblis or Iblis.
Yeah.
He was like, and then he's like, no, they could do it if they did this and this and this or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then they thought that they destroyed all of the asteroids. Well, they thought that they destroyed as many as they could, but they said there's so many, and then Card's like, okay, I'll tell you, there's no more asteroids. It was, you fooled, open the thing or whatever. Let me land. Yeah.
So wait, the Republic put the asteroids around
No,
Coruscant?
Thrawn did. He dropped them out of their ships.
Yeah, because like
this is on his way into Coruscant or getting out of it?
They like attacked Coruscant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So it made them close. It made Coruscant, made the New Republic close, like put up a force shield and close it to the outside world.
Because all those asteroids are like,
hit.
They're like a nuke if they hit the ground. It's like a nuclear explosion.
And that was kind of the reason why, because there was something kind of weird going on. So the rebels and the smuggler guys all wanted to steal the same technology from the Empire. That's why there's a space battle at the Belbringi shipyards at the end. That's where the ending takes place. Is because they're like, we want to get that same technology about the asteroids and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they go there to do that.
Okay.
And then they even tried to do this deception thing where they tried to make it look like the rebels tried to make it the New Republic tried to make it look like they were going to a different target.
Right.
But really, and I thought it was funny because when they show up to the Belbringy shipyards, Imperial shipyards, it's Admiral Akbar, and he says, "This appears to be a trap."
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to the book on like 2x speed or something, and I was like, wait a minute, go back.
Hold on. Go back.
Change it up. It's a trap to this appears to be a trap.
That's funny. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm glad that you kind of explained that. Because I don't know if I just like wasn't paying attention or if it didn't like interest me as much or whatever. But that was something I was going to ask on this podcast is like, what was the Empire doing in this book? Because for some reason, I just couldn't follow their storyline. I liked the scenes with Thrawn, like when he was doing stuff,
right? But
I didn't understand their objectives, I guess.
Right. I think Thrawn just thought that we're luring them here and we wipe them out, then that's a huge win for the Empire.
Right.
That was his thing. There was a point where Pelion was questioning him, and he's like, "But shouldn't we go protect the other place?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "No. Over there is a small loss. But if we win this victory here, it gains us like a whole advantage over the rebels."
Yeah.
New Empire, New Republic.
so many names.
Yep.
So many names.
That's the thing about Star Wars is I
it's
wish
a whole
that
government. It starts a whole government. It's like I remember countries and stuff.
Sometimes I wish there was just the rebels and the Empire, not the Republic, the New Republic, the Separatists, all these factions. Because I just want to buy a box of army men that have the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah.
Not these guys used to be the good guys, and these guys are now the bad guys or whatever.
We talked about Luke getting cloned. I did like this scene where they're going into, meet Sabayoth essentially. And Mara says, she like begs Luke. She's like, whatever happens, do not allow me to go over to Sabayoth's side if he tries to like influence me, which I think is such a missed opportunity that she didn't have a moment of indecision. Like there was never that moment of like, of like being pulled to the dark side. It's like, why didn't we get that? It was set up in this scene.
Yeah.
Why didn't we get that tension in the big like climactic battle? That's like my one like nitpick with this book is just that kind of final battle with the clone and everything. I don't think it was a bad scene necessarily. I just think it could have been better. So I do like this conversation though, where because it kind of, I feel like this conversation tells you what that battle could have been, where she says, whatever happens, like kill me if I'm about to, if I'm being influenced by him and I'm about to go over to the dark side, you need to kill me. And it sets up so much tension for the scene that we don't get.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is such a good scene. Like, what? So
yeah, then they could have made a moment where Luke would have been like, "Oh,
do I have to kill her?
Kill her?" And they did. They missed.
They set it up right here.
A lot. Sorry, man. You had a ball.
I know.
You might have dropped it.
So I liked this scene though. I liked this moment where she's like telling Luke, she's like, you might have to kill me. And Luke's like, I don't want to. And she's like, but you might have to. And then he comes back and logics her into, he's like, you can't use the voice as an excuse. It's your decision in the end. It's your choice to make. All of that. So let's talk about the final battle here and we'll kind of wrap up. So Sabayoth pulls a saber and the gun from Leia and Card. Mara intercepts it with the Force and kind of like, she doesn't take the blaster, but the blaster gets knocked away. And then Mara attacks the clone while it's focused on Luke and she kills it. The quote is, "She had fulfilled the Emperor's last command, and she was finally free." Um, Overall, I think that's fine. I think, uh, we've talked about the clone.
Yeah,
I think
an easy out.
it was fine, but
I think sometimes when they put the title, I mean, it's better done in a book, I guess. But in a movie, when they say the title of the movie in the movie, I'm like, did you really need to do that?
Yeah.
oh, yep.
Spencer's like, oh, I guess
I literally had to scroll to the top of the page to be like, what was this book called? Oh, it's great.
Lights on. Somebody's home.
Yeah, that's so funny. I did not realize that. The Last Command. Because I was thinking, when I was thinking The Last Command, I was thinking it's the last, like the last of Thrawn, like the last command of this ship or whatever, or the last command of the Empire. But yeah, okay.
What kind of was the last command of the Emperor?
To her.
Yeah.
Yeah, to her though. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, that's where that comes from. we know what the last command is. We technically know who the heir to the Empire is. Dark Force Rising.
The thing is she could have been all those things. She could have been the heir to the Empire. She could have been the Dark Force Rising.
Yep.
I thought she was.
Okay.
And then she could have
been the
last command.
Yeah. Okay.
These are the Mara Jade books.
Yeah.
Not the Thrawn books.
Yeah. Speaking of these being the Mara Jade books, what did you guys think of just everything we get at the end here, where she's the one that kills the clone, and then she gets to Sabayoth at the last second. I love that he was telling her, he's like, you're going to come to me on your knees. Like, you're going to bow before me. And she does, but she's sliding in on her knees. The book was really specific. It said she slid in on her knees and uppercutted him and like basically split him from balls to neck. And I'm just like, I thought that was so cool and such a great way to fulfill prophecy.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I heard some YouTubers talking about, they're like, it should have been Luke that killed the bad guy.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I'm not going to bias you any further. I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious thought would be for Luke to kill the bad guy, but I think it works. I don't know. I think it worked well. I think Mara, I think that works, and I think it works well.
Yeah.
Even though our main character and main hero didn't quite do the hero thing, even though, he's still a big part of it. But no, I think it was fine. I think it was totally fine.
Yeah. But yeah, Luke is also, he is like inherently good. So I think Luke's not a killer at all.
That's a good point.
Yeah, even at the end, he's trying to save Sabayoth.
Yeah, he's saying, we can help you. And he's like, no, like, that's foolish to think that there's even anything wrong with me.
Right.
You think you could help me? But yeah, Luke, I mean, that's like Batman. Batman doesn't want to kill people. He's not into guns and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's Luke. Like, he doesn't want to kill people. So, of course, and I also was thinking of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you watch that,
Oh yeah.
he doesn't even kill bugs. And the last, spoiler alert, you've had some time, but he doesn't even kill the Fire Lord. He finds another way to strip him of his power and make him not a threat without killing him.
Yeah.
So I think Luke should not have killed Sabayoth.
Okay.
The fact that Mara kills him is kind of like, okay, you needed to tie up Sabayoth somehow.
Yeah, it's an out almost kind of.
Yeah.
But even then, I feel like Well, maybe that would have been too much development right away for Mara to be like, okay, now I have sympathy for this guy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it makes sense. She's like, I still don't like people, and I'm gonna kill him. She's still an assassin.
Yeah, I agree. I think hi Hank. I don't mind at all that Luke didn't kill. I mean, maybe they could have given Luke the clone to kill. I think that probably would have been fair. But I absolutely think Mara should have killed Sabayoth. Like, I think that Sabayoth is, despite how crazy he's gotten and everything, he is literally in this scene specifically. He is literally sitting in the seat of the Emperor.
Yeah.
And so this is cool. This is like a very symbolic kind of like Mara had to be the one to kill him, I think that Mara and also,
and he was trying to make her another servant of his,
right?
Just like the Emperor.
Yeah, he's trying to overtake her mind and everything. He's trying to make her be his apprentice and all this stuff. And on top of that, Luke kind of got his big villain killing character arc in the original trilogy,
right? And
this trilogy was kind of Mara's, and so I don't mind that it was her that took down the big bad at the end, because I think she needed that for her character to kind of tie up all the loose ends. The clone, I kind of roll my eyes at the idea that I killed the clone, so I essentially killed Luke. It's not really, but all right. That's the one thing that I'm a little bit iffy on, but I like her killing Sabayoth.
Yeah, you make a really good point. It really is her redemption to a lot. It's bringing closure to the command of kill Luke Skywalker, and the revenge, justice, vengeance to the Emperor killing Sabayoth.
Yeah,
which is crazy. But she never actually. It literally is her redemption, her second chance to do those things, because it's she doesn't kill the original Luke,
right?
And then she doesn't kill the Emperor,
right?
She gets to kill some clone version of Luke, and then she gets to kill this guy that is like the Emperor,
who's also a clone.
Who's also a clone, yeah. So she doesn't ever actually, she just goes through the motions that bring peace to her.
Yeah.
When in reality, she still didn't do the things she wanted, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works really well with this story, and despite my weird plot hole that I just pointed out, I guess.
Yeah, it's very very symbolic more than anything. Okay, so then as we end the book, we talk about Rook assassinating Thrawn for the atrocities committed against the Nogri people. Just such a badass line before he just walks into the shadows. And then of course Thrawn saying, but it was so artistically done. It's just such a I love that that's his final line. It says so much about him. We talked about it earlier, but I think it says so much about him that even dying, he can appreciate the art and the nuance in this thing that's been done to him. It says so much about him. I love it.
You could probably write a full essay on that line.
Right.
Just delving into everything about Thrawn and art. And
I'll say it. I wish that he hadn't died at the end here.
Yeah.
I wish that we had gotten a couple more books with him, because I think he's probably not only the most interesting villain for me in Star Wars. I literally think he's probably my favorite villain in all of Star Wars. But I think he's also just kind of one of my favorite villains, in fantasy sci-fi. It's not too often that we get a bad guy who is this calm and collected and very like I said, depending on how you look at things, fair.
Mr. Marcone.
Yeah, like Marcone from Dresden Files, very similar. And I think that's probably why I like him, is because he reminds me so much of Marcone.
Definitely.
And he's He's fair depending on how you look at it. He's calm and collected. He's strategic. He doesn't let his anger get the best of him. He's willing to see other people's point of views. He's willing to give when it suits him or when he sees it justified. And I'm just like, it's hard to hate him. Like, it's like, yeah, he's working for the bad guys, but imagine if he was working for the good guys. Like, I don't know. It's so, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been in the DC kick, he reminds me a bit of like a Lex Luthor, Brainiac.
Oh, okay.
Like where his strength is his wit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both those characters in Superman, they get defeated all the time and you think they're gone forever and then they show up again. Which is happening a lot in Star Wars these days where somehow
someone gets
returns
resurrected. God, Palpatine coming back is an atrocity.
Yeah. Who needs to get stabbed for the atrocity? For that atrocity.
Okay, so we kind of get to the end of everything. We're getting the epilogue and whatnot. Card is going to try and keep his smuggler coalition together, and which I think is great. I think that's a cool idea that he's got like this band of bad guys, almost like a Suicide Squad type thing going on. And they're going to, work with the Republic, but they're also going to do their thievery stuff. But they're also going to work with the Republic and try to do some good in the world. And then Luke wants Mara to stay and be a go-between for them and the smugglers. And she's like, but you know Card, like you don't know me. And he makes a good point. He says, yeah, but you just killed Sabayoth. Everyone here respects you right now. They don't really care that much about Card. They don't really respect Card because he's kind of like this random smuggler. But you... He's like, you're the perfect go-between because you just won the confidence of everybody in the Republic.
Yeah. Right.
So, and guess who you're best friends with? So, you know what I mean? So I love that point he makes. He gives Mara apparently Anakin's lightsaber. And the quote is, because you'll need it, because I want you to have it. And in her POV... she says, it was one of the last links to his past, and he was giving it away. Was there a message in that for her? Probably. Subtlety wasn't one of Luke's strong points, but if that was why he'd done it, he was wasting his time. The last link to her past had been severed in the Mount Tantus throne room. It was time to get on with her future, and the New Republic was that future. And then, of course, she runs up to Luke and says, hey, wait.
Marry me.
Yeah, marry me. And that's where we end things.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's like a great ending, but it's also like, I don't want to say it's not quite, because it was satisfying, but I don't know. Do you have any specific feelings about, I felt that like it was just kind of like an abrupt ending.
I thought it was good. I don't know. Yeah. It leaves me with questions that I'm sure that maybe that other book might answer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess when it was done, I was like, okay, cool. That seems good. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the ending there, Gabe?
Yeah, I'm probably right there with Isaac. I'd be interested to see what the other ones are like. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I liked I think the best part about this ending, well, the two best parts were Thrawn, the killing of Thrawn.
Yeah.
Even though I wish he had gone on for longer, I think it was a beautiful, like, very well written scene. And then the passing on of this lightsaber, because even when I thought it was just one of Luke's old lightsabers, I was like, oh, that's a really cool moment that he like gave her this lightsaber of his. He's like, it's like, you're one of us now, you're gonna need it. And there's also some, I think at this point Luke has like some minor feelings for Mara, and so it was like a little bit of that too. Because I think is that what she's getting at here? Where what was there a message for her in that for her? Probably. Subtlety wasn't one of Luke's strong points. Was the message like an I like you thing, or was it like something
I
else?
don't know, because
Yeah, I think you could
it
take
was.
it both ways almost, kind of, potentially, right?
Yeah, because the message could be like,
I mean, what does that lightsaber represent to Luke? It was his dad's lightsaber.
yeah,
I mean, that lightsaber represents the beginning of his Jedi journey. Uh,
it also represents Vader's turn from the dark side.
hmm So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Subtlety is not one of my strongest points, I guess.
I know, I just don't I just don't understand. But if that was why he'd done it, he was wasting his time. I just don't understand what that specifically is referencing. Um, but I don't know. I think most of all, it's kind of she's in this scene. She's kind of on the teetering edge of like, will I join the Republic? Will I go off on my own? Will I join the Republic? Will I go off on my own? Will I go back to Card? Will I join the Republic?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, I don't know, kind of like this twisty turny like logic she's got going on, and this beautiful moment where Luke passes on this lightsaber that means a lot to him. Like surely if Mara wasn't in the picture, he would want to hang on to that lightsaber and
Mm-hmm.
pass it on to his children or something. Um, and so for him to pass it on to her, who will probably eventually pass it on to her children or whatever,
Yeah.
it's kind of saying a lot.
Yeah, that part did make me think about the idea of giving your stuff away. I
Mm-hmm.
was just thinking about how that is very selfless
Mm.
to give something that special
Yeah.
away. And I was thinking about, oh man, if I have something I want to give away, I start thinking, well, how much would a new one cost? Like,
Right. Yeah.
if I just got a new
Yeah.
one for them, or
Yeah.
I always admire people that I've never seen it happen in person, but I meet people that have friends that have been like, oh yeah, that guy's the nicest guy. He'll literally give you the coat off his back. He did it one time to a homeless guy or something.
Right.
I thought, I don't know if I'd actually ever do that. I love the idea of
I like my coat.
yeah, I like the idea of giving my coat to somebody that needs it or something.
Sure.
Or like Andy, ADD, like Andy from Toy Story giving away his toys to some other kid.
Oh
Play with.
yeah.
I'm like, jeez, come on, dude, hold on to those for when you have kids or something.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a great scene, and it kind of tips her. It just barely tips her in the direction of the New Republic. It was just enough to get her to kind of tip that way. And so yeah, going into our final thoughts, I'm really excited to read the Hand of Thrawn duology. I almost bought is Spectre of something is the next one. Um, and then Vision of the Future is the second in the duology. Can't remember, Spectre or something. But I almost bought it last night. I was like, do I want to just go straight on to the duology? I don't know. Um, I have a good amount of time this next week to just read, so maybe I'll do it. I don't know.
Just jump right in.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited, and I think, most of all, I'm just so glad that we read these books because it opened me up to a whole world of Star Wars
Yeah.
that I can enjoy now. Whereas before, I was like, I don't know. I'm like, the movies are fine. I like the original trilogy. I pretty much like the prequels. I don't like any of the new movies with Rey, whatever.
Yes.
I don't like the majority of the Disney Plus shows except for Andor. Um, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like not like a huge Star Wars fan. I'm kind of disappointed with a lot of it. And then reading the Thrawn trilogy, I'm just like, dude, this is exactly what I want from Star Wars. Like, this is exactly what I've like been looking for from Star Wars. And so yeah, I'm excited to just keep reading the EU
Yes.
and especially anything that Timothy Zahn writes. I'll read all his Star Wars books for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to get some recommendations on some of the other authors that write in the EU. But if like any of them are as close to as good as the Thrawn trilogy, I'm like I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm like I love following the Skywalkers and like the lineage of the Skywalkers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's pretty neat.
I mentioned that I got kind of burnt out on Star Wars, or not burnt out, but I was trying to take a step back from Star Wars. And nice.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
Did
Dude.
you hear that too, Gabe?
Yeah.
Sorry, it went right into the
Holy
mic.
crap! That was wicked, dude.
My bad.
I'm so
Yikes.
glad our fans could hear that. So glad.
Oh man. Let's see.
Sorry, we
I was
just
gonna
ruined
say
your
You're
train
getting
of thought.
burnt
I was
out.
gonna say, well, I took a step back from Star Wars, and what's really cool is I started watching other stuff like some DC stuff and just some other things, and I realized what a good story is, and I was reminded, oh yeah, like the feeling of being just fully bought into something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, what's gonna happen next in the lore and all this stuff. Because with Star Wars, I really have just been like, okay, I'll stomach it because
Yeah.
it's just part of
Because
it.
it's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's Star Wars, and so getting into stuff that's fully satisfying,
Mm-hmm.
and which weirdly enough tends to be older things,
Right?
is awesome.
So what I'm saying, we're getting to the age where everything new sucks and all the old stuff is good.
Yeah.
What about you, Gabe? How did just looking at the Thrawn, not necessarily this book, but the Thrawn trilogy as a whole, I think you like Star Wars, right? But I don't think
Yeah.
you were like a massive fan of it. Has this like changed that for you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a pretty like, and I know this is kind of not, I guess, what a fan would say, but I've always really loved Star Wars, and I've watched, I grew up watching them over and over and over again. And I watched like The Mandalorian, but my problem is I don't consume a lot of TV. Like I just
Sure.
don't watch shows, so like I haven't seen a Star Wars show in years.
Right. Yeah.
So I just don't know. But being that I don't watch that stuff and being able to listen to an awesome series like this is like wonderful. It's great.
Yeah.
Give me more. I'll take more,
Yeah.
But hearing you guys talk about like Andor, didn't even know that was a thing. Had no clue.
Oh yeah. You got to watch.
Have you
Andor.
watched
Yeah.
Rogue One?
Yeah, is that like one of the or like one of the newer actual movies?
Yeah.
Then I've probably seen it.
It's the one. It's like a one-off movie, like the Han Solo movie.
Then no, probably not, because I think the one. Wait, is it with the Rey chick? Because I watched one
No.
Star Wars movie with her.
No.
Okay, then I haven't seen Rogue One.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
Watch-
that's what I'm
Go
saying.
do that.
I don't.
Go watch Rogue One tonight. Like
Yeah.
Okay,
And
okay.
watch that.
And Gabe, here's
That's
the
good.
thing. Here's
That's
the thing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Gabe. Is by this point that I'm not a Star Wars fan, like a big like what people would consider like a Star Wars fan.
Mhm.
Watch Rogue One. Rogue
Okay.
One is very good, and then watch Andor.
Okay.
Andor's on Disney Plus. And so is Rogue One.
You just gotta convince, dude. You should text Leah and tell her to give me the TV. Then, 'Cause, God, it's gonna be an issue.
So
he will not watch shows unless his wife watches them with him.
Oh.
No, it's because I
guess-
can't watch shows unless my wife watches them.
Watch
with
it on
me.
the computer.
I'm not gonna sit here for 2 hours on the computer. I'm gonna watch a show in
That's
bed.
what I do. I watch everything on my computer.
Rogue One is a prequel to A New Hope.
Yeah.
It leads right up to it.
Okay.
To the first Star Wars movie.
Well, no,
Oh.
it doesn't.
Awesome.
Rogue One?
Is the destruction of the?
Rogue One.
Yeah, isn't it the destruction of the
Death
Death
Star?
Star?
No, that's A New Hope. It's the destruction of Scarif, the planet that they are on, to get the plans. We can't say anymore if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, so it's okay. It's okay. I will watch it.
You have to watch it. It leads right up to it literally, you can stop the movie and then start watching A New Hope, and it's like the movie just kept going.
Okay, that's awesome.
And Andor season 1 is a prequel to Rogue One.
Yeah.
Andor season 2 is the supposed to lead right up to the beginning. Apparently, it's supposed to lead right up to the beginning of
New Hope,
Rogue One.
Oh,
so you could watch Andor season 1, Andor season 2, Rogue One,
and then
A New Hope,
mm-hmm.
all the way through. Like it's one continual.
That is cool.
thing.
I did not know that. That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got my homework for tonight then. Thank you.
Those are some.
Thank you, gentlemen.
People call people call Andor a slow burn, which is accurate because you'll start it and you're like, man, it's kind of slow. But just hold on, go through the whole thing.
Yeah, I've always been on the other end of that spectrum, dude. I've always been like not so worried about a slow burn.
I was just about to say, given the other shows that you've watched, Gabe, like Yellow Jackets and From, I think it's about the same pacing as those.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
Cool. Well, those are our final thoughts. I had such a great time with this trilogy, guys, and it was so great to have you here who loves Star Wars and is able to answer a lot of these questions and stuff. And so it's been such a great time to get into this and to be able to enjoy Star Wars in the way that other people enjoy Star Wars, because I've said it a million times now, but I've never really like fully gotten it. But now with the Thrawn trilogy, I'm like, dude, this is my element. I'm loving this. This is so much fun.
Maybe we need to do a rewatch for you, for both you guys. Just of maybe the original movies. And
I still watch. I've even in the last like 5 years, I've watched the original movies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I've never watched any new Star Wars stuff except for that one movie with the Rey girl. But even my mom, like when I go to my mom's house,
one of the Rey movies.
Like when I go to my mom's house, we always watch either Harry Potter or Star Wars. Like it's just always like one of the old movies because like I said, growing up, they were on the TV almost every night.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I can tell you, you're not missing much with the Rey movies. You don't.
I don't even remember if I liked it or not. It was.
I hate those movies more than I hate anything in the world.
They're a let
down.
They're a let down.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I enjoyed watching them in the theaters when they came out because it's just like you go see Star Wars.
It's an experience,
right?
So
yeah,
cool.
It's a thing.
When you start thinking about all the problems, it really gums up.
Just wears you down and makes you cry.
And like, can you with a clear conscience say, hey, consume this, but don't think about it too much, because if you do, you won't like it.
Right? Yeah,
it's not good.
It's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining in on this. It's been so much fun. We will certainly do the duology, the Hand of Thrawn books, and we will find a time for whatever works for the three of us to do it. My dog is pissed. He's like, I wanna be petted. I wanna be held. He's like climbing on Isaac's lap. There he goes.
He's like, read the Hand of Hank.
Yeah.
Go for a walk.
All right, so we will certainly figure that out, and we will get a time together to check out the next duology. And if we like that, maybe we'll just keep going in the extended universe and check out some more of these awesome books. But otherwise, guys, that is going to wrap us up there. Be sure to let us know what you thought of our Star Wars episodes It's definitely a departure from our normal book coverage, but we had a great time with it and would love to do more of them. And let us know what you thought of the original Thrawn trilogy as a whole in the comments below. Did it, live up to your expectations, or was it not quite what you were expecting? Are you more of a modern Star Wars fan, or are you more of an original Star Wars fan? Let us know down there, because we'd love talking to you about it. A quick reminder to check out our links in the description for our socials and Patreon. As always, you can subscribe to us on Patreon and see these episodes live as we record them, hang out in the live chat, and discuss these books right along with us. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, whatever you do in life, make sure it is so artistically done. Bye, everybody.